Hey there. Thanks for joining me again on the podcast. Today's guest, Kacie Dancy, is the Vice President of Operations for a family-owned business that has a 44-year tradition. It's called Pop's Beef, and they really have stumbled on, or I shouldn't say stumbled upon. They've worked at this for 44 years, but they have the magic formula to running great restaurants, and it's so family-oriented with community involvement and no labor staffing issues, and just a happy family, happy guests, happy team, and a growing business. And we talk about all the elements that make this business successful, from finances to staffing to marketing to just everyday operations and attention to detail. You're not going to want to miss this episode, so stay tuned. When I ran restaurants, you probably know that I was obsessed with profit, and I really had systems in place that dialed in every nickel of profit in my operations. And now I can teach you how to do the same. I've got a course called the Profit Maximizer. So check that out at restaurantrockstars.com/profit maximizer. I just got a testimonial from a loyal listener. She says, Roger, I just finished your Restaurant Profit Maximizer course. I thoroughly enjoyed it and learned so much. Just wanted to thank you for what you do. Now, we're about a year and a half from opening a restaurant, but when we get closer, I'll definitely subscribe to your academy as well. So don't go anywhere. Hey, thanks, Lisa, for the great testimonial. So check that out. Yeah, we can increase your bottom line profit. Very simple course. Doesn't take much time, but it really gives you ideas to move the needle. So check that out. On with the episode.
You're tuned in to the Restaurant Rockstars Podcast. Powerful ideas to rock your restaurant. Here's your host, Roger Bodwin.
Listen, what would it feel like to lower your operating costs, double your sales, lower staff turnover, create raving fans, and design a menu that literally prints money? Our online restaurant training system will teach you and your staff to rock your restaurant and transform your business. Head on over to restaurantrockstars.com. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to get started. You've got this. Restaurant Equippers has served independent food service operators nearly 60 years. They have low everyday prices in huge warehouse stores in Ohio, Michigan, and New Jersey. Shop for your restaurant equipment at equippers.com or call 800-235-3325. Their experienced specialists are standing by with thousands of name brand products available for immediate store pickup or shipment. Restaurant Equippers is a family-owned business just like yours. Give them a call for all your equipment and supply needs, or visit them at equippers.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Restaurant Rockstars Podcast. So glad you're here. And Kacie, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thanks for having me. I'm great. How are you?
I'm really excited to talk to you. I'm great as well. I'm excited to talk to you because this is all about a family business with a long-lasting 40-year tradition, and there's so many key learnings here. But tell us, what's your story? I mean, you grew up in a family business. Did you start at a very early age and just get thrown into the business, whether you liked it or not, but you learned a lot? Tell me what happened.
My dad started the business in 1980, so it was around before I was. I would say it was his first child before I was his first child.
Yeah.
And so I have pictures from little bitty baby to toddler years to teenage years, and then now still in the business. So it was 44 years in March. So we've been around a really long time. Yep.
Yes.
And it's cool because what the coolest part is that location still exists. It's our corporate location.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the customers and a lot of their kids now, they've worked in they worked in our restaurant. So it's cool to see generational.
Absolutely.
We've had stories about people that have worked there and got married afterwards, and people that have moved away and come back. And so it's just really cool because I feel that our customers and employees have become truly a family. And I can contribute that to our success. And I love it.
That begs the question, because very similar to my restaurants, it was, like you said, it was about the customers feeling like family. It was like your team feeling like family, and everything for us was all about hospitality. So hospitality, family, and fun was our company culture. Would you say you have a company culture, and how would you describe it?
I would truly say, and we have employees. Now, I will always say nobody's dream job is to work the line at a fast food restaurant, right? But if you treat them like family, and if it's that family atmosphere and they're having fun, there's no reason why they won't stay with you. And because it is a family, but it's not always easy, and the restaurants are hard. And so I think if that culture is not there to begin with, then there's no reason for them to stay. And so I think family's the reason we're successful and that we treat our employees like family.
You've talked about earlier, you said something about your guests had kids that worked in the restaurants
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think you've got a reputation, and word had gotten around. One, this is a fun place. It's a family business. They treat people differently than the average business. And
Absolutely.
I'm asking if you've had any labor challenges, because most of the industry is still struggling with short staffing, and not only getting people, but getting really great people.
I will say it is crazy. I mean, and during COVID was a hard time for us. People
Right.
were, it was very difficult. But we had people that were in jobs that had been let go that had come back to our restaurant because they knew we needed help. Or there were kids that were going to school that had left college, but they were doing online courses and they would work for us at night because that's just who we are. They knew we needed help and everyone pitched in to help. So it was so cool to see so many different employees in older employees. I mean, we had teachers that had been done with, and then they were like, oh, do you need help at night? We can come help you at night. And
Terrific.
so it's just so cool to be a part of that atmosphere and that everybody wants to help. It's truly like a community. It's not just
Yeah.
a restaurant on the corner that everyone's, oh, good luck there. So it's really cool.
Sounds
So
very
we don't really
inclusive. Yeah.
have, I would say, the labor shortages that many do have because of that.
I think there's a key learning right there in how you're building relationships through the community, and people that had worked there before have come
Yeah.
back to help
Yeah.
out. And it was so much fun. It's even if they have a couple of hours to contribute, they can come in and, oh, that's terrific. Okay, that was super helpful. Now, when you're hiring or
Mhm.
recruiting, I should say, or when you're finding new people, is there a
Right.
specific onboarding formula that you have to indoctrinate people into the culture and what you expect and what this business is really all about to put their best foot forward for your customers?
So we always love kids. And when I say kids, teenagers, the high school
Yeah.
students. And if you get them young enough, then they stay with you. A lot of them do community college or when they're looking for their first job, they're
Right.
working multiple jobs these days. So we'll fill in. So we like them young and then we train them. And like I said, they're usually part of the community. They live close to our stores. Their parents probably frequent our locations. So definitely, again, trying to pull into that family, the family of Pops. And so I would say all of our restaurants pull from the community. Now, of course, our full-time employees, the guys that work in the back in the line, it's a little different, but again, a lot of them, their wives or their sisters or their nieces, they work in the restaurant as well. So I would say it's very rare that we have somebody that random, so to say, that just fills out an application and walks in. It's truly kind of word of mouth and
Yeah.
that family atmosphere gets out there that we're a great company to work for. And so then they end up applying and they're with us for a couple years, not or more, not just the 6 months or 3 months that you normally see in the fast food industry.
Terrific. Are you finding that teenagers today have a work ethic and that once you tell them what the expectations are, they rise to that challenge? Do you ever have any issues
No,
there? Or they really have a great approach?
the dang cell phones are the problem.
Oh,
The
yeah. Okay. The
demise.
cell phones.
They want to be on the cell phones, but I think everybody needs to put their children in hospitality. I think my children will work in the restaurant. I think it teaches so many amazing things for kids these days. It teaches them customer service. It teaches them humility. It teaches them how to talk to people. I just think it's an amazing vehicle for their career, even if they don't stay in the restaurant industry, that they need to be working with people. They need to be working and they need to learn how to do this, to have a conversation with someone, not this. And so it is hard, of course, that they're teenagers, like anything else. But I think it's so important, no matter who they are, what their background is, that they need to be working in the restaurant industry because it teaches so many values, I think, that kids are missing out on these days.
Yeah. Life skills.
Life skills, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is one business where you can literally rise to the top without a formal education if you've got
Absolutely.
that passion. And I think you've seen that. You've probably got any success stories of any kids that started with you that went on to great things, either in hospitality or outside of it, that you mentored or they shadowed other great people within the Pops family?
I would say that we have a couple now. Influencers obviously are a big deal. So a couple of we have a couple that got married. They were 16 when they started. They got married when they were in their 20s. And now their daughters are these foodie influencers. And so they're looking to open a restaurant, a franchise of ours. And they've interviewed our stores and that's cool. But we've had a lot of teachers, government people that are in governments that have worked at our location. We have people all over the country. And that's, like I said, one of the things that they always go away, but then every time they come back to visit their family that's still in the area, they always come back to our locations. And that's always cool to see them again. So I don't know any specific that there anybody famous or anything like that, but it's always cool
That's
to see a
okay.
familiar face.
It is for sure. This is a natural segue to brand building. And I know that's one of the key things is you're building and you're continuing to build on a legacy brand. And there's a difference between marketing and actual brand building. And if you were to go out and query the public in any of your communities and say, what does Pops mean to you? There's got to be a common thread. What would that be? What would you say your brand is really all about?
I would like to say that it's our devotion to our community. I mean, when I tell you that we are always looking for ways to get involved in the community, whether it's like this summer, the local readers club, when the kids read books, we give them free hot dogs, or for Frankenstein Friday, we do free hot dogs for the kids, or we're partnering with Red Cross Blood. We're going to do a blood drive with them. So whether it's a national level, we used to do hot dog eating contests on 4th of July and get all the community to come
Oh, that's
in.
fun.
We sponsor the American Cancer Society. So whether it's national level or local level with the schools, we're always the fire, the police, the hospitals. Like I said, COVID was a big time. We were constantly dropping off food to the hospitals and police and fire. But I just think that we are always looking a way to give back. We do the dine and donate for the softball teams and the baseball teams. We have big festivals. We're always trying to do, like I said, any way to get into the community, to give back, to know that not only do we appreciate their support, but we love to support them as well. So,
Yeah, that's obviously there's definitely a noble approach to the community that I'm
Yes.
hearing, and you're doing good for the right reasons. With that said, there's also a marketing aspect to that where you're
Yeah.
visible in the community, and doing good means people are going to patronize you. Are any of these programs that you're giving to trackable from a marketing standpoint?
So that's hard. And it was funny. My dad was here, who was the CEO of the company. For the first 30 years, he never marketed, advertised, nothing. It was all word of mouth. And so to this day,
Awesome.
he still doesn't love marketing and advertising. He thinks if you treat the customer, they have a good experience, they're going to use the word of mouth, they're going to tell their friends about it, and that's how you stay in business. And so he will truly say that it's not the marketing and advertising that gets the customers in the door. It's the word of mouth and giving them a good experience. From not only does it taste good, they're going to greet you at the door, they're going to smile, they're going to be friendly, you're going to get the full experience. And so that's been tough to get him to see the benefits of marketing and advertising. So to answer your questions as far as trackability, we do a lot of these national holidays. Wednesday is actually National Hot Dog Day, if you didn't know.
Yeah, you can't miss that one.
You cannot. And so we do, of course, our POS system. We have a very good POS system, but it's all trackable, and you can obviously see. We do like I said, we do text message programs. We're launching our app soon. And so through that, we've seen more and more, like I said, trackability. But he says that if they have a good experience and you treat them right and they get a good sandwich, that you don't really need to track. And so he's the anti-marketer advertiser, if you could even believe that. He doesn't really love it.
I wouldn't argue that point. In my businesses, we did the same thing. We honestly believed that our team, our staff were our best marketers. And if they built relationships with our guests, those people were going to be loyal. They were going to come back again and again. And when we did marketing, we did out of the box things that were attention getters, that attracted the attention of people, but they were designed to bring people in for another visit. So we spent very little on marketing, but everything we spent was trackable, and we could tell if there was a return on it. And so I think there's a balance there. I don't disagree with your dad's philosophy. This is a whole new age of restaurants, and obviously you need a website. But I'm sure you're doing social media things as well. Do you have a dedicated social team that does all your social posts? And what's the strategy? How often? What do they post?
So it's funny. So as much as the customers love the communication aspect and to be acknowledged in the store, they also love that communication aspect in social media. And so I think so often that on social media, people just post and just run away from it. I think that it's another great way to have a conversation in social media. And so when someone posts, and then you can post back, and we have our super fans, of course, that are posting for us. And so
That's great.
That's amazing, right?
It is.
That's not
Absolutely.
us doing it. And
No,
so
brand ambassadors, I call them.
Yeah. But what's really cool is our social media, the girl that runs our social media team, she's been working for us since she's 16. She's now 36. So it's for 20 years. And so she still's working in our store. But what's cool about it is she's posting real live things that are happening in the store. Someone making a hot dog, someone making a burger. It's not like your picture perfect cheeseburger that's being thrown out there. Or National Hot Dog Day, we have this girl that dresses up in a hot dog. It's authentic. She dresses up in
I
a
love
hot
it.
dog costume and she's out there dancing. And so, yes, it's genuine, it's
Terrific.
authentic, it's real time. And so I think that's important for social media. Don't forget that communication aspect. It's still, even if it's through a computer.
Let's go back to your story. Now, you started at a young age. I'm assuming you worked most, if not all, the positions in
Yes.
Pops, right? So
Yep.
you have a very good understanding of how things operate behind the scenes, in the front
Yep.
of the house, in the back house, all that kind of stuff. Is there a point where you transitioned into more management, and how long ago would that have been? And what was your career trajectory within your restaurant? What other things did you do before you became director or VP of operations? Everyone has a birthday, and people celebrate birthdays in restaurants. Birthdays bring larger parties that spend 40% more on the guest check. Plus, most birthdays happen in the middle of the week when you want more business. Are you getting this? Larger parties, larger checks, midweek business traffic. Is your restaurant capturing this birthday business? Don't let these birthday celebrations go to your competition. The Birthday Club is a done-for-you service that handles everything, sending you all the birthday business. It's a piece of cake. Go to jointhebirthdayclub.com/birthdayrockstar to get started.
Family's hard, family best restaurants. I don't, you mentioned having a family restaurant yourself, so you understand. And you're expected to be there when no one else can. And I think that one of my dad's biggest success point is that for the first X amount of years, he was the one that was there bell to bell, right? Open to close every day. And so for me to transition into more of a corporate role it's very hard because he doesn't see the corporate role as working. If you're not in that restaurant serving a hot dog, you're not working.
Old school, yeah.
If you're not taking that customer's order and seeing them eye to eye, if they didn't see you that day, you're not working. And so we still to this day struggle with that if I'm not in the restaurant enough because they're not seeing my face and it's hard. He gets upset.
Wow, that's interesting, isn't
So,
it?
yeah.
So you got to find that balance, right? So you're in the store,
Absolutely.
you're still working the positions. It's all hands on deck. I get that.
Yeah.
But that's true leadership also,
Yeah.
because I believe that I've said this in many podcasts and I won't go into detail, but you don't want to be the boss in the back office that's just barking orders at
Yeah.
people. You want to lead by example.
Right.
And you show people that you're not too important and that that's a way to gain respect. And it's not your job, but it's everyone's job. And you're part of that
Right.
team. And
Yeah.
you must find a balance between running the show and having the show go on, right? Because this is show business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say too,
Yeah.
that most of our franchisees are all family as well. So the one guy that owns a couple stores in Indiana, he has 10 kids actually. And so 4 of his 10 kids are all in the business. And then another one of our franchisees, there's 3 sons and they all own a restaurant. So some of them are multi-unit operators. And then my brother who's in the business as well, he's a multi-unit operator. So it is cool to see that these franchisees not only have grown with us, but they also value the same things that we value as a brand and as a corporate. They're very much family too. And so I love to see that that's being down to, it's not your cold franchise where it's just cookie cutter and you're walking in and you're not seeing a familiar face.
The consistency is vitally important also. And you want not only the quality of the product and the way that people treat you when you walk through the door and the service received and the cleanliness of the locations, like all those
Right.
things. Do you get involved in maintaining that consistency at all? I mean, do you secret shop other stores?
Oh, yes, of course. So I live in a town couple over there's one in my town. But what's cool too is all of our 17 locations are within south suburbs of Chicago and then in Indiana, Northwest Indiana. So I
Yeah.
live close to all of them. And we have family in all of them. So it's funny if you have my sister is in Indiana and she'll go, I went into the Indiana location and the beef just tasted a little. So you better believe my dad's out there driving out to Indiana, seeing why the beef tastes a little different. And so, yes, very much so. Secret shop. We do have a guy from the corporate that goes into every store, make sure. But what's cool about our restaurant is each location cooks and slices their beef in-house. So it's not coming from a commissary. It's actually coming from the location. And that's one of the things that's so great about our sandwich is it's fresh. It's never frozen, all the things. But what's also hard is the consistency about that, right? It depends on who's cooking it that day, if they were trained right. One of the craziest things is water. The water from Chicago to Indiana is different because well versus city. And so
Oh, of course.
so some of our stores had to put in a water purification
Yeah.
system.
I did
And
that in one
so-
of my locations
Yeah,
also because the
right?
water was not good.
Water's
Yeah.
different. And
Yes,
if you
yes.
think about beef gravy, 99% of beef gravy is water. And so it's always trying to make it better and making sure it's consistent and not just at our location, a corporate location, but all the locations.
Hmm. Do you still have many company-owned stores that aren't franchised?
Just one. Just our
Okay.
corporate
Is that
location.
so the main location then?
Yes, is the only one that's still. He said that's enough.
Okay. How long
Yeah.
did that operate before I'm guessing your dad explored the whole franchising route?
So we became a franchise in 2010. And so the only reason he did that was because we were always a license agreement before that. And so in 2010, the government kind of came after, and we had 12 locations at that time. And they said, okay, here, you're doing some things that are more at a franchise level than a licensing agreement. And so we're going to need you to switch over, or else we're going to fine you and all the things. And so they looked into kind of what we were doing. And the government made us transition into franchise versus a licensing agreement. And there were certainly growing pains because franchisees that weren't franchisees, that didn't want to be franchisees, they're operating as a mom and pop shop. Now we're being told to have to operate as a franchise. And so we definitely experienced growing pains with that. But I think now in seeing what we can do more is 17 versus a mom and pop one shop. They've, of course, since 2010 have seen the benefits of it. And so they're on board.
You're not alone in that. It's ironic that a guest I had several episodes ago was the founder of Auntie Anne's Pretzels
Yes.
that was in like all the airports, and they had the very same thing. It's like they had these licensing agreements, but they were
Yeah.
crossing those boundaries, and they were
Yep.
really operating like a franchise. And the same thing, the government stepped in and said, "Got it."
Yeah.
And it's so ironic. The very same thing happened.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're
Yes.
bringing that up, because anyone who's interested in expanding in that regard, you don't want to go down that road. You want to do it the right way. So,
Absolutely.
and that's quite a
Yeah.
process, I'm sure. You know,
It's a
the
headache.
legal and the expense.
Yeah.
But it
absolutely.
is obviously a huge part of our industry and how it is. There something that stands out that made the biggest difference in Pop's success other than the quality and the family oriented? Is there anything else like it? What are the competitive advantages? Because quick serve is highly competitive, and
Absolutely.
and I guess I'm assuming in suburbs of Chicago, there's lots of choices for food and dining, and burger places are all over the place,
Right.
as are pizza places. What's your competitive advantage?
I don't think that there is one thing ever that a restaurant does that gives them an advantage. I think it's everything, to be honest with you. I mean, we laugh at my dad because although he's up in age and he would like to say, I would like to say he's retired. He would beg to
No
differ.
way. He'll never retire.
Never retired. No. But he's there every morning washing the windows. And everyone gives him a hard time. Like, what in the world are you doing? Don't you have better things to do than wash the windows of your corporate restaurant? And he'll say, it's not one thing, it's everything. And so I think from even just that customer coming in the window and seeing clean, or coming in the door and seeing clean windows, like from a friendly face, from the uniforms that they're wearing, to how that first kind of customer interaction. Good morning, how are you? Would you like to try
Absolutely.
something? Like I said, to the to the family orientation of the business, to giving back to the community. I would like to say community involvement and treating our employees like family would be two of the top reasons that we've been so successful for 44 years. But I truly do not believe that there is one secret that anybody
No
could get
magic
truly.
formula, but
No
you've
magic
got it.
formula.
You've
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can relate to your dad, because after so much time and after putting your heart and soul and every dime you
Yeah.
have into something to grow something really significant, it not only is it a legacy, but it's that person's identity.
Yes.
And that would leave a huge hole in his heart and in his soul if he ever had to walk away and not be part of it, as he's been part of it for so long. And it's
Right.
the relationships and it's the pride. And I know every
Absolutely.
listener is feeling that about the restaurant. It's such a business of passion and pride,
Yeah.
and it runs so deep. And I sold my restaurants in 2014. And to be honest with you, it took me 3 years to get over it.
Yeah, sure.
To
Sure.
pivot and do something else and to reinvent yourself. But I'm still in hospitality, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
boy, when you run a place that you've grown from scratch, it's like you put everything you have into it. And
I think people don't realize restaurants, you never have a day off. So it's every
No,
day, morning, noon, and night.
absolutely
And
right.
so it
Complete
becomes the way
commitment.
of your life, a complete commitment. And so
Yep.
from going from one extreme to the next, and what's a day off? We don't know.
If labor's been okay for you and
Yeah.
it's not really a challenge, there are a lot of pain points and challenges in
Oh, of
restaurants.
course.
What are the biggest challenges for Pops post-pandemic? I mean, we all went through it. You guys survived it. You pivoted 100 times, and the
Yeah.
word has now become a cliche because the whole industry has had to do it.
Right.
What are your challenges today?
Pricing, the
Okay,
cost of
let's
foods.
talk
I
about
mean,
that.
that has been
Inflation. Yeah.
inflation. Yes, it's been crazy. And not only that, but consistency. We are a beef stand. And so we've always gotten kosher beef from Nebraska, and that was a great thing. And we had been that way for so long. And then you'd see COVID hit. And so a lot of the farming was impacted, and of course the pricing. And so just consistency. Even our hot dogs are proprietary. And so you've seen the price skyrocket on our proprietary hot dogs. And of course you saw everything skyrocket, and they're tacking on all these extra fees for the trucking and all the things.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
delivery fees, everything.
delivery fees, yes, and gas. And we always thought, okay, so once COVID pandemic hit, we understood. But then when the pandemic kind of dwindled and everything went back to normal, so to say, the prices never went back to normal. And so how do you function? And obviously you pass that cost on to your customers, but then how do customers afford your sandwich? A sandwich that was once $4.99 is $6.99. And so that's hard. And I will say that we are in a niche market. So although we're fast casual, we're a little bit higher up, I would say, than your normal, but we're not fine dining by any means. So I feel that we are in that middle. And so we've been lucky whether we're recession proof, we like to say a lot of times, because people are still going to eat out, but it's hard. And my dad's always, oh, I feel bad. I'm like, okay, but at what point are you breaking even, or if not losing money? We're not in business to lose money by any means. So that cost has to be passed on, but it's hard to see what the price has done in such a short time.
So there's a lot to unpack there. And it really
Yes.
begins with what you first said, and it's about you cannot lose the value proposition to your customer. And you can't get to the point where someone says it's just not worth it to pay this for that, because
Right.
in my mind, this is a reasonable price. This is what I'm used to paying. And everyone
Right.
understands inflation, but it's like suddenly, and maintaining margins is a huge challenge. So
Absolutely.
now you got to find efficiencies, inner efficiencies, and
Right.
negotiating with suppliers and all that sort of thing. So I guess the big picture is, are you negotiating based on the leverage you have of so many stores? Is it a buying group that gives you leverage to maintain a certain price based on volume?
So a lot of franchise have kind of one vendor that they go to, and we've
Mhm.
always kept our vendor options open, which is
Yeah.
good and bad for a lot of reasons.
Mhm.
But we have about 3 or 4 that we can go between and price shop, and we're not as strict as a franchise saying you can only buy from this vendor. And
Yes.
so they're allowed to price shop, which is good and bad for a lot of reasons. And so I think it keeps them honest, the vendors honest in a lot of ways, to be able to compare, right? So why are you charging me this when this guy's charging me this? And so we've done that, which, like I said, has its up and downs, because in buying power, when you have that contract pricing, your contract pricing is great, but then like for example, tomatoes right now are cheap, but your contract pricing's here. But in the winter, when you're buying tomatoes at your contract pricing and everywhere else is way more expensive, it works out. So it definitely has its pain points, but like I said, between being able to vendor shop a little bit helps us.
It does. Now, what about financial controls? What are the things internally? And I don't know if you get involved with that, or if you've got a CFO type person that is constantly monitoring your key performance indicators, but tell me about your controls. Are you taking regular inventory? How often are you costing out that menu? Things along those lines.
So I will say that so that's a thing for our franchise. We don't value others franchisees' profits. And so
Which a corporate store,
we
clearly.
do the corporate store. Yep. And
Mhm.
we have somebody that kind of monitors all of that. Of course, they're constantly shopping, making sure the margins are where they need to be. And so I don't as much have to do with that side of the business, but of course that it's very important that someone is in place to do that for us.
Sure. Food and labor costs being the
Yes.
biggest expenses,
Yes,
that sort of thing.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
great. I'm glad we're talking about it, because there are a lot of restaurants out there that think that taking inventory is figuring out what the order is, as opposed to the calculation that tells you the value of the goods that you have on hand. And that when you take a regular inventory, hopefully every single week, you're keeping in what I call the sweet spot. So if your food cost is a 28%, you want to make sure that every week it's a 28, because suddenly if it spikes to 35, and if you don't take inventory, you don't know,
Right.
you're losing money. I mean, all these things are really important for operators. So I'm glad to hear that you're
Yeah.
doing that. We talked about marketing, but are there any loyalty programs in place with your marketing program that
So
keep
right
people
now,
coming back, that are either
yeah.
established, or how does that work? My restaurant sold tons of fried foods, but what a hassle dealing with the fryer oil and cleaning hoods from all that grease. Restaurant Technologies handles everything end to end. They deliver, filter, monitor, collect, and recycle your waste cooking oil. Their AutoMist system reduces the fire risk with automated hood and flue cleaning, hassle-free. As a customer, you'll save 10 to 15% on insurance premiums and even get bonuses for new customer referrals. Go to rti-inc.com or call 866-399-3639 to get started. LED digital signs attract a ton of attention, bring your business to life, and increase customer traffic. Cirrus's high-resolution LED technology is energy efficient and gives your business maximum visibility. Cirrus signs are versatile and allow easy changing of content and displays. Best of all, you can subscribe to pay with low monthly payments and no upfront costs. And now, my listeners get the first 2 months free. Go to try.cirrusled.com/rockstar.
So right now we have a text message program, which we love, that right now we're trying to bring it in-house. And so I would say anybody that has any type of program, the benefits of keeping it in-house are huge. At the text message program, how it's currently working is you get to send this text blast out, but you don't really know who's coming back and who's using it because they're just flashing a phone at the person that's taking your order. And so with the app now, you're able to track the guests that are coming in and actually using the coupon, so to say, if you will. A lot of our stores do bounce back cards. And so if you, like I said, for a lot of the holidays, we'll give them a bounce back card. And so they'll scratch it off and you come back and redeem those. So we can obviously see how many customers are not only shopping us on a National Hot Dog Day, but then you get a bounce back card for a free hot dog. And then so they're coming back to us. And so that's cool. A lot of the stores do the punch cards. You buy 10 beef sandwiches, you get one free. That's a big one. But I would say the biggest thing that we're looking to do is, like I said, through the app, bring all of our, whether it's email marketing, whether it's the text message program, all of it in-house. So we're able to better track the customers that are using it. And what's cool is that even if they're redeeming it and they haven't redeemed it in a month, you can send out a text message. Oh, we miss you. Here's 20% off your next order. And so with programs like that, I think it's cool that you can bring it in-house, and the trackability on those customers is way more beneficial for them and for us too. You're sending coupons to people that are going to actually use them versus not.
So you're using text messaging, and
Yes.
that's part of
Yeah.
your stack that's obviously been proven to work, and
Yeah.
you can actually track it because the coupons or the redemptions are happening and you can see it happening.
Absolutely.
And there's a
Yep.
data capture, obviously, to that as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you have a database of numbers and that sort of thing.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a lot of recognition of regular people that come in all the time. Your staff
Yeah.
get to know them and, hey,
Yeah.
Tony, hey, Sue,
Yeah.
thanks for coming in, that
Yes.
kind of thing. That's important as well. And you're tracking
important.
national holidays like the hot dog day thing and all that. And these are
Yeah.
all opportunities that some operators would miss. So I'm glad you brought those up.
Yeah. There's always the national holidays. I mean, there's National Guacamole Day. There's always a national holiday every month that you can take advantage of.
Always. Yeah,
Oh.
it's amazing. If you would actually Google it or look it up, there are so
every
many
day.
food holidays,
Yes.
right? So you
Yeah.
definitely want to take advantage of.
We're known for milkshakes too. And so there's National Milkshake Day, Ice Cream Day. I mean, really, there's so many different days to take advantage of. And so if you're desperate for something, the national holidays is something to capitalize on.
Mhm. Do you have drive-throughs in any of the locations?
Yeah, actually. So that's another cool thing about our franchise. There's a lot of so we have a couple of our restaurants are in gas stations, which is super cool.
Oh, I
because
love that. Old gas
Yes,
stations?
sorry.
You mean they used to be gas stations?
Well, they're actually gas
Oh,
stations still.
oh, they're part
So
of gas
they're a
stations.
part of a gas station. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Oh, gotcha. That's very cool.
it is cool. They're a part of a
It's
gas
all
beautiful
built-in
gas station.
traffic, right?
Yes,
People are filling their cars
absolutely.
and they come in and fast
And a ton of
service.
truck drivers, like I said, it's an automatic customer. They're
Mhm.
stopping to fill their truck and they get a beef sandwich to go. So it's a win. But yes, again, my dad would always say if he could do it again. And so it's very interesting. Our restaurant, the corporate location, has no seating, has no drive-through. It's carry-out only. So it's very small. You walk up, you get your sandwich, and you go. And so, and it's the top grossing store out of all of them. But of course, you can contribute that also to how many years we've been in business. But the restaurant model now is surely expanded. We have ones in gas stations. We have drive-through. We have the walk-up, of course. We have dine-in. I think any avenue that you can capitalize on, as far as whether it's whatever it is, you want to get your revenue in the door. Some of our stores have gambling now in them. And so that's
Oh,
a
wow.
whole nother customer
No kidding.
clientele.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that
Additional profit centers are important.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
Anything additional that you can add to your restaurant, I don't see why you wouldn't take advantage of it.
I believe looking at your website, you have a catering program, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about that.
Talk
These
about
are
that.
community events, and good customers will say, hey, my work
Yeah.
needs 30 orders of lunch, burgers, dogs, the whole 9 yards. And you deliver all that? You bring it on site? Tell me about your program.
So a lot of it is actually more catered toward family parties. So graduation
Okay.
parties.
Yep.
Christmas is our number one time of year, of course. All the Christmas parties, office parties. And so, yeah, so we do, of course, do tons of catering. And it's cool. The restaurants that are in the gas stations, they're by like the Amazon buildings and the Walgreens. So they'll cater sandwiches for hundreds, which is really cool for the additional business for the gas stations. And so catering's big for us. It's really big. It's a whole nother aspect to the restaurant business. And you need a great team for that. I mean, catering is not easy when you're catering for hundreds, especially, but we have a really good catering program, and it's a great way to eat our sandwiches and stuff at home versus in our restaurant. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
So some are, you can walk in and sit down and that sort of thing. So you
Yeah.
order at the counter and then you
Yep.
take it to the table and that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on.
So yeah.
Awesome. What about retail merchandise? Have you
No.
branded
Mm-mm.
any goods that you can sell?
No, we do have a lot of fun swag. I mean, like for National Hot Dog Day, we have, I was just had these because I was handing out, but like beach
Oh,
balls,
awesome.
we got frisbees,
that's super fun.
jacuzzis, we got chapsticks.
People
We've
like
had,
that.
the Yeti tubs branded. I think another fun way, and these are all giveaways that we do for all the
Mhm.
national holidays. It's fun. People take it. The kids love it. Adults
Of course
love
they
it.
do.
With the
Yep.
frisbees, people were having, do you have any extra? My dog loves frisbees. So any way that you could take advantage of a customer, even if the customer's a dog, I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You must cover a lot of ground week to week and day to day. Do you have
Yeah.
is there a typical day in your life? As the
No.
VP of Ops, is every single
No.
day different? Like, how do
Every
you
single
start your
day's
day and
different.
how do you?
I think and I don't know, good or bad, you log into the computer, right? And you see all your listed emails. And a lot of times it's setting up stuff in the back end, whether it's the different price specials that we're having that day.
Mhm.
And then just seeing where your day takes you. I mean, a lot of times it's like I said, my dad would say he starts his restaurant his day washing windows, right?
Absolutely.
And then
No
kind of sees
fingerprints. That's an
no,
impression. That's a negative
no
impression.
fingerprints. There's always the easy days and hard days, right? So right now I'm running out to all the locations, making sure that they have all the swag for Wednesday for their National Hot Dog Day. And so day to day is
Nice.
different, whether we're trying to build a program out for the next national holiday or we're trying to get the stuff out to the stores, or somebody always needs something. So whether maybe someone called in sick and I might have to go in and work the line, it is what it is. And so every day is different.
You mentioned you love your POS system. Tell us about your tech stack. What's necessary today
Yes.
for technology?
We've tried a lot of different POS systems over the years. And I always said if I wasn't in the restaurant business industry, I would go into the tech side of it, because the POS side, I feel like a lot of people are lacking in that industry. But what we have found is with Toast, and I'm a big advocate for Toast. We've had Toast now for 4 years.
Mhm.
And I just think that they are top notch with the customer experience, where it's forward facing. So you can be selling pictures of your sandwiches, the customers to be able to read on there what they're ordering. You could text message a receipt. The back end has all the KDSs. From a trackability standpoint, being able to track all your items. And there's so many partnerships with Toast. So maybe if it's something that Toast doesn't have, they partner with all these different companies to be able to provide that for you, which is really cool. And they're all integrated programs. So like our app will be integrated with our Toast POS system. And so I'm a big advocate for Toast. I can't say enough good things about that.
Terrific. So you've got online ordering through Toast
Yep.
as well. Okay.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And you have an app now, or it's being developed?
It's being developed. Yep. Currently being developed. We're hoping to launch it in the fall.
Oh,
So so summer's really busy for us, and winter's
Yeah.
really busy. So that back to school time is when we slow down a little bit for the restaurants. And so we're looking to launch it then.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep.
It's been a joy talking to you today. I mean,
Thank you.
I like to say you're an operator's operator. You got your finger on the pulse of the whole organization. You're proud of your brand. You're every
very.
single day growing that
Yeah.
brand. You're trying to show your dad new ways without getting him too upset. It's
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah. We always say what got you here won't get you there. So
Yeah.
you got to constantly be looking for new ways to grow the business and get that customer in the door. So
Well,
we're
there's
trying. I'm
benefits.
working on them.
There's benefits to his approach and your approach,
Yeah.
and it all is part of the whole of a great brand called Pops. And I'm really glad that
Thank
you
you.
spent some time with us today.
Thank you.
Last question. Any
Yeah.
advice to operators today that really want to grow their business forward? Not necessarily franchise, but anything that you can do to encourage them to overcome these challenges, whatever they are, maintain that passion and
Yeah.
pride, and just move that business forward. I love
I
your
would think-
energy. I'm thinking you've got some
Thank
good
you.
advice.
No, you know what? I would say get in your business. I would say that the people that are struggling the most are the ones that are hands off. And I say, if you're not working your restaurant every day, are you talking to the people in your community? Are you talking to your customer? Are you talking to your employees? I think on the ground level is where you're going to get all the feedback that you need for your restaurant success. Honest to God.
Thank you so much for being with
You're
us,
welcome.
Kacie. It's
Yeah,
been
thanks
our
for having
pleasure.
me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And if you're ever in the Chicagoland area, please stop in for a beef sandwich.
I'll look you up. I get there
Yeah.
every year for NRA,
Ooh, I'm sure.
generally. So I'm
Yes.
sure
And we have a very robust menu. So if you don't like beef sandwiches, hot dogs, burgers,
Oh, I like all that
gyro sandwiches, salads, we got it all.
Oh, yeah. We would
It's a
call
big
that
menu.
American comfort food. It's what everybody loves. And that's part of
Yes.
the success is the popularity of your menu as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic, Kacie. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Take care.
That was the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. Thanks so much to our audience for tuning in. Can't wait to see you again next time. So stay tuned, stay well, and we'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to the Restaurant Rockstars Podcast. For lots of great resources, head over to restaurantrockstars.com. See you next time.